Hi, welcome along to my short session developed for VETI as part of the Digital Researcher Programme. My name is Emma Gillespie and I manage the Northwest Hub for VETI. You can find me online in lots of places, but mainly on Twitter and the Hub website. Today I'm going to be talking about the identification of knowledge. This is one way you can show the cycle of research. First step in this cycle is the identification of knowledge, maybe for your literature reviews or just keeping up with what's new in your field. Here's a short video to show you some fast facts about information and social media. So it took 38 years for the radio to reach 50 million listeners and 13 for television to become that popular. Technology is moving so fast that it only took 4 years for the internet and only 2 for the iPad to reach the same number of users. So are we in a state of information overload? If you look at YouTube facts, 48 hours of video are uploaded every minute, nearly 8 years of content every day, and over 3 billion videos are viewed every day. In terms of blogs, we've got 70 million WordPress and 39 million Tumblr, not to mention all the other types of blogs out there. And Twitter, on a busy day, Twitter sees about 175 million tweets. But information overload isn't anything new. The problem has been acknowledged by researchers for much longer, since at least the 1920s, when this Stanford professor, J. Murray Luck, set out to review current research in the emerging field of biochemistry and found himself dismayed by the immensity of the task. So Luck's solution was to arrange for the leading professors in the field to write intelligent syntheses of the key literature. And so was born the first annual review. So how does that sheer amount of information being produced every day make you feel? How do you cope with this information overload? For me, one of the key things to keep in mind is that information is not a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Important messages will come around again. because the signal will be amplified by your network. You also need to feel comfortable with not reading or being aware of absolutely everything, otherwise you'll start to feel out of control. Once you feel comfortable with that state, then you can start thinking about how to identify the relevant literature. So to help you improve your identification of knowledge, it's important to understand what works for you now. So how do you find information at the moment for work and for leisure? Consider both online and face-to-face information gathering, for example, attending a conference or having a project meeting, or maybe a drink in the local pub. Talk to your colleagues about how they gather information and see if you can share a few tips and tricks with each other. Are there any patterns in the way that you like to gather information? If so, keep these in mind when you encounter a new tool or technology. It's not about making you change the way you find information, it's more about tweaking what you do already to improve your capacity to find the right information. I just wanted to take a moment to think about what an online search actually is and the new developments in this area. So, for those of you who may remember, Alta Vista was a first-generation search technology which ranked sites based on page content. Then came the likes of Google, which relies on link analysis for ranking. We're now starting to see the third generation searching, which harness your network to inform you about issues and developments you may not be aware of. For example, Google has just launched Search plus Your World. Social searching is a change that provides you with intelligently filtered information that helps to stimulate new questions in the same way that a conversation with a colleague might. So, with all that information being created every minute of every day, how do you navigate the crowd to find the information that you want? One answer is RSS, which stands for Really Simple Syndication. On any website, wherever you see this symbol or the RSS logo, it means that you can subscribe to receive information from that source. You can use different tools to look at this subscribed information. One example is iGoogle. This is my iGoogle page that I have as my internet homepage. As you can see, I've subscribed to rugby and football news, blogs and websites of interest, and journals. This way I can get a quick overview of headlines every time I open my browser. Have a go at subscribing to information you're interested in using iGoogle or one of the other tools I mentioned at the end of the talk. So, I've talked about strategies you can use for making information on the web come to you, rather than spending hours trawling websites for relevant information. But how do you find out about something new? What if you've missed something vital? As I mentioned a minute ago, you need to rely on your networks to amplify important signals so that you don't miss them. Traditional face-to-face networks are often termed as one-to-many, so you connect with each person in your network individually. Although obviously some of these interactions will include more than one person, for example in a meeting. Having a large one-to-many network takes a lot of time to nurture and maintain. With the advent of social media, we can now have many-to-many networks. Each person in the network can create, publish, broadcast, connect, share, and in particular for this session, they can search. Many-to-many networks are a more manageable way of keeping in touch with a wide range of researchers, other people, and organisations you're interested in. Here's a drawing of a typical network where you might be the central point. Building a useful network takes time, so it won't happen overnight for you. Think carefully about your current network and how you might want to see it grow. A good way to expand your network is to look at what your contacts are interested in now. For example, who do they follow on Twitter? As Terry says here, it's critical to have a network of individuals you respect and are confident they do quality work. This means the information coming to you will be most relevant. By having an effective many-to-many network, you will increase your capacity to identify relevant knowledge. Imagine all the information all the individuals in this network might identify collectively. Clay Shirky said, "Build is not information overload, it's filter failure." If you build an effective network and trust them to filter the relevant information for you, then this will work. So far we've talked about how you can obtain and search for information, but for it to work, it can't be all one way. The Oxford English Dictionary defines reciprocity as a state or relationship in which there is mutual action, influence, giving and taking, correspondence, etc., between two parties or things. To get the most from your social media interactions, be prepared to give a little. Reciprocity isn't about following or liking everything or everyone you come across. Instead, present your own identity and connect in personally meaningful ways. Identifying knowledge using social media is all about having conversations. Talking to others virtually, sharing links, ideas or opinions is how you will get the most valuable information exchange. Social media is also about participation. It's fine to lurk when using a new tool for a while to see how it all works and whether it's worth you investing more time in. However, if you do decide to take the plunge, participate fully and hopefully you will reap the rewards. I haven't really covered the types of tools you might use to identify knowledge in depth. This is because I think this is really the easy bit. Once you've identified how you like to receive information and who from, the tools you want to use should fall out naturally. Also, tools change all the time, but the way you interact with the world will always depend on your own preferences. But to give you some examples, when managing information via RSS, you might want to use dashboard setups like iGoogle or NetVibes, or maybe you want more detailed information, in which case it would be better to use something like Google Reader or FeedDemon. Feedly and Pulse are mobile-based RSS readers that work on Android and iOS as well as your web browsers. Most web browsers or email clients also have built-in readers that you can use. When thinking about networking, Twitter is a great place to keep in contact with your network and doesn't take up a lot of your time. #PhD Chat takes place on Twitter every Wednesday evening and discusses different topics around the doctoral journey. Google it if you want to find out more. Facebook and LinkedIn you're probably familiar with as ways of networking. Jiskmail is a set of online and email distribution lists for people interested in the same topics, so you can share information. If you can't find one of interest on Jiskmail and you want to create one, they allow you to set up your own. Academia.edu and Graduate Junction are examples of networking sites specifically set up for the academic community. You can also store or share internet bookmarks and citations online. These are really great for personal use as well as for sharing with others, because it means you can have all your favourite bookmarks or journal articles stored in one cloud space that you can access from your computer, laptop or mobile device. Sites like Mendeley and Zotero are tools to store and share citations, whereas Delicious and Diigo are tools to store and share bookmarks. Bibsonomy lies somewhere in the middle between those two. So that's my short guide to the identification of knowledge. What are my key messages? Don't get overwhelmed by the amount of information out there and don't try to read everything. Important messages will come round again. Develop a strategy for finding information that fits with how you like to do things now. Don't try and change your natural preferences. Build a network to help you find and filter the relevant information. Don't forget to give a little of yourself to the network to nurture and sustain it. Use tools to organise and manage your information in networks, but don't get bogged down in learning every single new tool that comes out. Collaboration is the key to identifying knowledge. Happy searching!